Okay, my friends, I am going to take off my slippers and my sweater. I've got my zookeeper outfit on. We're going to do the second 15 minutes, if you will, which has a lot to do with the hips, straddle stretchings, etc., of our snow shoveling thing. So what you should have done, of course, is the other one, the neck business first. Okay, so we've done the warm-up part, and I'm going to say that you come from doing your sexy shoulder rolls, etc., and then let your legs go into staff pose, and just taking a nice breath. And we're checking our posture because I'm still wanting my shoulders stacked on my hips. And then I'm going to move my legs into my straddle position here. If you still want something under the back of your butt so that your hips tilt forward, that can be nice, or you can just get that out of there if it feels icky. Watching your feet, that they stay pointed to the ceiling, because we have a tendency to roll in and out. So check both your feet now, and then the first thing I'm going to do is let my left arm lie along the inside of my left leg, and my right arm goes over my head in the graceful arch, because this is a side stretch, right? And we're keeping our neck soft. And we're not like trying to get the top of our head down to our shin. That is not it, because then you're curling up your spine. We're lengthening our spine. So think about that long string from the crown of the head down through the tailbone and pulling that forward. And a way to do that is to think about getting your left armpit down to your left kneecap. That's the direction. And if you can keep your right elbow back and your right shoulder back so that you keep it in a side stretch. Meanwhile, I'm talking, you're breathing nice and even. Your inhale matching your exhale. And on my next exhale, I'm going to turn and face my leg and let my torso come down over that long leg. And again, I'm keeping my neck aligned with my spine. Don't curl your head under. Don't try to get your forehead onto your shin. That's not letting your hamstrings. Do you feel your hamstrings, especially in the left leg, the back part of the thigh? And breathing. Then I'm going to exhale, and I'm going to walk myself through my center, supporting myself on my hands or my elbows, and then let my right arm lie along the inside of my right leg, and my left arm goes over the head. I'm going to shift here so I'm better in the focus. Left arm goes over the head now, making the graceful arch. And again, this is a side stretch, right? So we're trying to keep our neck soft and neutral. And I'm letting my right arm be along the inside of my right leg and my left arm over my head, letting that shoulder drop back and the elbow drop back. And breathing. There, I noticed my foot. See how it had flopped out? That doesn't help my hamstring. So I'm going to put my foot straight so that I get the full benefit. And then I'm going to exhale and turn and face my long leg, letting my torso drop towards my thigh, keeping my neck aligned with my spine. And really, if you think about reaching back with your tailbone, it kind of tilts the hips forward so that the back stays nice and flat. This is for the hips and the hamstrings, not actually so much for our spine, although the spine benefits. And we're breathing. And then on my exhale, I'm going to walk to my center. And here in the center, wherever you are, supporting yourself on long arms, supporting yourself lower to the mat is nice. Reaching out with your arms, reaching back with the tailbone. And here's where you can move into the pancake pose, grasping the left foot with the left hand and the right foot with the right hand. and letting your torso go as close to the mat as it will. And breathing. My face is exactly looking at the mat because I'm keeping my spine flat and my neck aligned. And then I'm going to walk to upright. And as I'm upright now, I'm going to draw my right heel in to the groin, and I'm going to move back into that side stretch with my left arm along the inside of my left leg and my right arm over my head. And you'll really feel your right hip opening, most likely, in this pose. I certainly do. But we're not trying to tear our pants or rip any tendons or muscles, keeping our neck soft. We're just using the range of motion that we have, and over time we find that actually increases. But then I'm going to exhale and turn and face that extended leg, keeping that foot upright. Exhale. Get a couple of good breaths here. And on my next exhale, I'm going to begin walking through my center with a nice low flat back towards my folded knee, and let my torso come down over the folded knee as much as it will. If you're up like this or even sitting practically upright, keeping our neck aligned with our spine, that's really important. Yeah, and reaching back with the tailbone helps to keep the lower back flat. Otherwise we end up curling that, and our hamstrings don't get the benefit. So we're just relaxing in this pose over that folded knee. And then I'm going to exhale and walk to my center. You can linger here if you want. You know, this is a really legit thing for your hips. Very nice. But we're going to do something later that's even better. It's that needle threading. So I'm walking to upright, and before I release my right heel on my exhale, I'm going to put my left hand on my right knee and my right arm over my head, again in the graceful arch, and reaching with my right hand fingertips towards my left foot. And now it's the left shoulder, not the left armpit, that is reaching for the kneecap. And breathing. And then I'll breathe in. And I'm going to exhale to upright and continue my exhale. Exhaling, releasing my right foot. And I'm going to draw in my left foot into the groin and do the same stuff over here. So my right arm now goes along the inside of my right leg, and my left arm making the graceful arch. You see how the armpit is reaching for the right knee cap. Keep my neck soft, always checking the neck, because it seems like that's kind of the root of all evil. When we tighten up, it starts in the neck, goes to the shoulders. Next thing you know, the lower back is tight, and the hips, and then the hamstrings hurt, and then also you have sciatica. So keeping that neck soft, really important. And breathing like this, and we're kind of noticing our left shoulder, making sure that's back, and the left elbow. Yep, that's something to think about. And then on my exhale, continuing, I'm going to let my torso come down over that extended leg, right? And I'm thinking about a flat back, reaching back with my tailbone, breathing. And then on my exhale, walking through my center as low and flat as I can get till I get to my folded knee, and letting my torso go down flat over that as far as it'll go. It doesn't matter how far it goes, you know, form is everything. So curling your back and trying to get the top of your head down there is not helpful to you. It doesn't in the long run, so you don't get the full benefit. So I'm just thinking about my right foot. Should be pointed to my ceiling. Breathing. And then I'm going to exhale and walk to my center, staying as low and flat as I can. Again, you can linger here. This is really nice for that hamstring. You can feel it on the right side, I bet. And then I'm going to walk to upright. And I'm not going to release my left heel until I exhale my right hand to the left knee and the left arm over my head with my fingertips now reaching for my right foot toes and my shoulder reaching for my right kneecap. Yeah. But not turned like this. Don't try not to crunch down. Raise your left shoulder as much as you can and letting your left elbow go back so that you're making a nice side stretch. Feel how grounded that left hip is when we pose like this. Sorry. And then I'm going to exhale to upright, and I'm not going to release my right foot. I'm going to draw my right foot into my cobbler's pose. Really important to be upright, even if your knees are up like this, it doesn't matter. Sitting upright, the back spine being perpendicular to the mat and keeping the head lined up, the ears aligned with the shoulder seams on our t-shirts. And breathing. And you can extend this a little bit, even if your knees are up like this at a certain point, leaning forward just a little bit. Don't lean far. Don't tear your pants. Don't tear your tendons. And leaning forward just a little bit to let the hips open a little bit more. And breathing. And then coming back to upright. You can also sit in your prayer hands and let your knees drop naturally. You can do prayer hands to head as well. Much more difficult trying to keep the elbows back again and the ears aligned with the shoulder seams. These are all choices. And then I'm going to release my legs back into staff pose. And I'm going to move into a couple of things we do in our corpse pose on our back. So I'm going to move that thing I used to prop up my butt, and I'm going to lie down on my back, and I'm going to start with my knees bent because I want to do some bridge pose. So think about feeling your lower back against the mat. You can kind of rock it a little bit, you know where it is. And we're getting ready to push through our feet to raise our hips into bridge pose. So I'm going to take a nice breath in. My hands, you'll notice, are at my sides, palms down to the mat. And I'm going to take a nice breath in. And I'm going to exhale and push through my feet and draw my shoulder blades together. Raising my hips towards my ceiling, nice and even. Now it's not even cheating. You can put your fists under your hips and push up. You can do that. You can clasp your hands together underneath. There's a lot of things, but this is good for now. And then we're going to exhale. And as you exhale, try to roll down one vertebra at a time back to the mat. One person said it's like a pearl necklace of the vertebrae, each pearl dropping separately back onto the mat. So if you can get that image in your head, and we're going to breathe. Going to do 2 of these, so getting a nice exhale. And then I breathe in. And then I'm going to push through my feet again, draw my shoulder blades together, raise my hips. And breathing. And exhaling and inhaling and really enjoying that. And then I'm going to exhale and let this roll back down to the mat with that image in my head, one vertebra at a time. And get one more of these. So I'll take a nice breath. And exhaling, I'm rolling it up, pushing through my feet. You can actually grab your ankles if you choose. Or, like I say, clasp your hands, push your hips up higher so that your body gets the idea where you're going with this. And breathing. This is a good thing for bursa trouble too, because any of these poses that exhaust the muscle and then release help the bursa to release inflammation. So I'm going to exhale and roll back down to the mat. And breathing. And then I'm going to do a series that we really love. So I'm going to extend my legs so that my heels are pointing to my ceiling. This has to do with loosening the teeny tiny muscle groups in the lower back. So think about your lower back. You see I'm going to make some circles. First I'm going clockwise. It doesn't matter. With my heels about the size of a small pizza, the circles in one direction. And if you think about your pelvis, if you think of it as a kind of a flat thing and we're rolling around the edge of it and then going the other direction, all of those teeny muscles get to have the benefit of the weight of your legs, massaging them, releasing them from, being at attention all day. So after we've done this a little bit and we're breathing, I'm going to exhale and bend my knees and let them come down towards my chest and reach up with my arms and do some rolling like a ball. Okay, so now the same thing is kind of happening here. You're noticing the pressure point on your mat is the mid-back. And when you think about dissecting a chicken or taking a chicken neck apart, and there's all those little tiny pieces of muscle in there, well, we have all kind of thing like that too. So we're getting each one of those a little pressure and then release, and it kind of helps them to release. So once I'm done rolling, I feel like I've done that long enough, I'm going to stop and I'm going to let my arms go out to the sides for stability. I'm keeping my knees folded, and I'm going to exhale and let my knees drop to the right while my face goes to the left. Okay? You can feel this in the mid-back that you just rolled on. Just opening it. Now if you let your knees drop to the right and that right thigh doesn't come down to the floor, you can put a pillow right there or your yoga block or a stack of books or something, because the idea is to relax into this pose and let the weight of the legs open up the spine. All these poses have interesting Hindi names, but I don't know them all. So I'm going to take a nice breath in, and I'm going to exhale my knees to center, and then continue and let them drop to the left while my face goes to the right. Again, you can put something under that thigh so that your hips can relax into the pose if it doesn't touch the ground comfortably. And breathing. And then I breathe in. And I'm going to exhale my knees to center, and I'm going to move right into Happy Baby. So I bring my arms up, and I'm going to let my hands slide along my calves. And wherever you can grasp your legs there, ankles, heels, ideally the instep, but if it's just grabbing the pant legs, either way, we're letting the hips open by allowing the knees to drop one to each side of our torso. The knees are dropping towards the mat, and you're not pulling with your hands, on your calves or ankles or heels or instep or wherever you've grasped your feet. You're not pulling down because you're not trying to tear anything, okay? You can roll, though. You think about happy babies, they roll, sure, or not, whatever pleases you. And breathing. And breathing and allowing the hips to open. And then I'm going to exhale and release my feet. And I've saved the best for last. The feet are going flat on the mat, and we're going to go into our needle threading. So I'm going to start by exhaling my right foot up and crossing it over my left knee. And once it's in that position, I am going to let my right knee drop down towards the bottom of the mat. I'm trying to keep my hips in neutral, and I'm letting the front of my right hip open. Just letting that right knee drop towards the bottom. And when I'm ready, then I'm going to reach between my two thighs with my right hand and around my left leg with my left hand, and I'm going to grasp my shin and pull the left knee towards my chest. If this is not possible for you, you grab your pant leg at the thigh or whatever. The place that, the thing that where all the activity is on this particular pose is in the right hip, not in the left hip. Left hip gets a little benefit, but you can feel this in your right hip and the right gluteus, all the medius, minimus, and maximus. Yep. And allowing now my right hip to open. So I'm pulling my left knee towards my chest. I am actually pulling it. Okay, and I'm breathing. A lot of activity in my right hip. This you could do for 5 minutes and it would be great. And then I'm breathing in. And exhaling, I'm going to release my left hip or my left shin and let my both feet go back to the mat. And making sure my hips are in neutral, nice and flat. And then taking a breath in. I'm going to exhale my left foot up and cross it over my right knee. And let this left knee now drop towards the bottom of the mat. You feel that left hip opening in the front, right? I mean, I can feel it right here where my hand is flapping, if you glance at the video. This left hip is opening. I'm pushing with my left hand on the top of my knee so that it opens. And once I'm happy with that a little bit, I'm going to exhale my left hand now between my two thighs and bring my left hand to the front of my right shin and my right hand to the front of my right shin, and draw that right knee towards my chest so that my left hip can open. And I'm breathing, just relaxing into this pose. You can pull on your right knee pretty hard because that hip is a lot of big muscles, but don't pull past some kind of pain point. That's not the goal. We're trying to make a little bit of progress every day. So, and then breathing. Feel a lot of activity in my left hip, in the gluteus, and in the hamstring. And breathing. And then I'm going to exhale and release my right shin and my left foot back to the mat. And I'm going to shut this video off and we'll see how long it goes.